Welcome to everyone for the Andhra Pradesh State Council of Higher Education Talk the Book program. Today's session features an English book review on Revolution Bhagat. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Dr. C.V.S. Ravindranath Garu, lecturer in English at Dr. V.S. Krishna Government Degree and PG College, Visakhapatnam, who is here with us today to present a book review on Chetan Bhagat's Revolution 2020. Let me take a moment to introduce our esteemed speaker. Dr. C.V.S. Ravindranath holds an MA in English and MPhil with a dissertation on the art of surprise ending in O. Henry short stories and a PhD on contemporary India, Chetan Bhagat's perspective. He also qualified AP Set in English. With over 23 years of teaching experience, he has served as a junior lecturer for 11 years and as a senior lecturer for 12 years. He has published 12 research papers in reputed journals focusing on both literature and pedagogy. He is the co-author of Odyssey 2025, the English textbook prescribed by the government of Andhra Pradesh for the first year intermediate students. He has also authored several books aimed at preparing students for competitive exams. A regular contributor to Telugu dailies like Eenadu and Andhra Jyoti, he writes insightful articles on English language and communication. Beyond academics, Dr. Ravindranath is a creative writer, penning short stories in both Telugu and English. He is also an avid film enthusiast who enjoys watching and reviewing movies and frequently shares his reviews on platforms such as WhatsApp and Facebook. His interests include watching and reviewing films and listening to film music. Once again, we are delighted to have him with us today. Now I hand over the session to Dr. C.V.S. Ravindranath for the book review on by Chetan Bhagat. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for such a nice introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. C.V.S. Ravindranath. I have been in the teaching profession of English for the last 23 years. Currently, I am working as a lecturer in English at Dr. V.S. Krishna Government Degree and PG College, Autonomous, Visakhapatnam. Really, it's a great pleasure for me to talk about a novel that has captured the imagination of an entire generation of young Indians, that is Chetan Bhagat's Revolution 2020. The novel is my favorite among all of Chetan Bhagat's novels. It holds a special place in my heart because it reflects the challenges and aspirations of today's youth so vividly. In fact, I had the opportunity to pursue my PhD on all of Chetan Bhagat's novels, and my research was titled Contemporary India, Chetan Bhagat's Perspective. So it's both an academic and a personal delight for me to speak about this novel. Okay. India, as we all know, is one of the most diverse countries in the world, with its rich blend of cultures, languages, traditions, religions, festivals, and social backgrounds. Many Indian writers have drawn from this immense cultural wealth to craft powerful stories. Legendary authors like Mulkaraz Anand, R.K. Narayan, Raja Rao, and Kushwant Singh have portrayed the realities of Indian life, often with a deep social purpose. Similarly, women novelists such as Anita Desai, Arundhati Rai, and Jhampa Lahiri have provided intimate insights into women's struggles, identity, and their lives. However, despite their literary brilliance, many of these works did not always reach the common reader, especially the youth, due to their complex narrative style and elevated literary tone. Of course, Chetan Bhagat may not belong to the same literary league as these stalwarts, and he's certainly not a literary giant like R.K. Narayan. Yet, he has carved a unique space for himself in contemporary Indian writing. His secret lies in his ability to strike a chord with young readers. And Chetan Bhagat burst into the literary scene in 2004 with 5 Point Someone, a novel that redefined reading for an entire generation. His straightforward, engaging storytelling brought thousands of young Indians into the world of books. His novels speak directly to the youth about their aspirations, dilemmas, relationships, and dreams in a voice they not only understand but also embrace. So, my topic for today is Revolution 2020. It is his fifth novel, which tells the story of three young people, Gopal, Raghav, and Arti. Okay, before that, I would like to share something with you. Chetan Bhagat has written almost 9 novels so far, and it is his fifth novel. In fact, as I have already told you, I did my PhD on all of Chetan Bhagat's novels at the time. At the time of my submission of my PhD. So starting from his debut novel, 5 Point Someone, and One Night at Call Center, Three Mistakes of My Life, Two States, Revelation 2020, One Indian Girl, and The Girl in Room 105. We have already discussed the difference between Chetan Bhagat and the legendary writers. I have already discussed what are the reasons to choose Revelation 2020. And now I want to talk about the rise of Chetan Bhagat in Indian fiction. Chetan Bhagat was born on April 22nd in 1974. He was an alumnus of IIT Delhi. He did his mechanical engineering there, and later he joined IIM Ahmedabad. And there he was the best outgoing student also. He received the award for that. And for some time, he worked as an investment banker for a bank like Goldman Sachs and some other banks for some period. During his free hours, he started writing novels. His first novel was published in 2004. The title of the novel is 5 Point Someone. The very first novel was a blockbuster. It had the record sales. It sold over 1 billion copies. And this novel was made into a film in 2009, Three Idiots, starring Amir Khan. And this movie was also a blockbuster. And with the single novel, he became an overnight sensation. He was the talk of the town. And young Indians started reading his novels. Wherever we went, we would find young Indians reading his novels, whether it is a rail or a bus, anywhere. It became ubiquitous. And subsequently, his novels, other novels like One Night at the Call Center was also a bestseller. And another one, Three Mistakes of My Life, the third novel. And the fourth novel was Two States, and the fifth was Revelation 2020. All these 5 novels sold more than 5 lakh copies each. So thus he became the highest selling Indian author within no time. And generally, so wherever success is there, people go there. So many directors wanted to make his novels into films. And the first novel was already made into a film, Three Idiots. The second was uh, Hello movie. And the third one, Three Mistakes of My Life, was made into a film, Kai Poche. And the fourth one, Two States, with the same title. And this is how most of his novels were adopted into movies. Of course, some of them were not successful, like Hello and other movies, but mostly his films tasted success. And in 2010, Times Magazine announced him as one of the 100 top most influential personalities of the world. And he also received Publishers Recognition Award. And he is a columnist for popular newspapers like the Times of India and Dainik Bhaskar. He also wrote some non-fiction books like What Young India Wants, Making India Awesome, India Positive. So most of his columns uh, deal with young students, their crisis, cultural, career conflict, other burning issues, and politics. Thus, he brought English fiction into masses, and he has become youth icon. And now, let us have the summary of Revolution 2020. So, what is the story about? Revolution 2020 is the story about three friends, Gopal, Raghav, and Arti. So, they're childhood friends. But they are for example, Gopal and Raghav are childhood friends, but they are poles apart in their ambitions. Gopal, who comes from a financially struggling family, dreams of becoming rich and successful. Life has been tough on him. His mother passed away when he was barely 4 years old. And his father, a humble school teacher, is constantly fighting a legal battle over a piece of land with his elder brother. This land becomes central to their survival and later to Gopal's rise. Raghav, on the other hand, is born into relatively a well-off family and is full of idealism. His father was the product of IIT, and he works in uh, some popular company. He is passionate about Raghav is passionate about bringing a revolution in India, not through politics or violence, but through journalism. His goal is to fight corruption and bring change, even if it means walking away from a promising career in engineering. In the very first attempt, he gets a seat in IIT. For his rank, so he would get anywhere that he wants, but he prefers BHU because of his passion about journalism. He knows some journalists there, and he some newspaper. He wants to run a newspaper simultaneously. That is why, uh, shocking everyone, he joins BHU uh, and he starts a newspaper. And in between these two young men is Arti. She is the daughter of a senior IAS officer. Arti is charming, grounded, and dreams of becoming an air hostess. She shares a close bond with Gopal, but she eventually falls for Raghav's idealism and energy. Gopal, meanwhile, finds himself heartbroken when Arti distances herself and starts dating Raghav. In fact, Arti never expresses her love towards Gopal. Gopal loves Arti And the love is very sincere and genuine. But Aarti never has such feelings towards Gopal. When Aarti distances herself and starts dating Raghav, Gopal is very much disappointed. He takes to heart, and that has affected his career also. Gopal's life takes a turning point when his father insists he give the IIT entrance another try and send him to Kota, the hub of coaching centers. But Gopal's stay in Kota is emotionally draining. The loneliness, the pressure, and most importantly, the growing closeness between Aarti and Raghav destroy his focus. In the beginning, he has got uh, confidence that he will definitely crack IIT this time, second time. But when he comes to know that Aarti and Raghav are dating each other, so he is very much disappointed and neglects his studies. Again, he fails to get a good rank. And of course, he gets a rank around 50,000, but that is not enough to get a seat in either IIT or NIT. When things couldn't get worse, his father, who is crestfallen, passes away. He has great hopes on his son. He remains single when his mother, his wife died at a very young age. Gopal was barely 4 years old, but Gopal's father doesn't marry again. So he wants to bring up his son and he wants to see him as an engineer. When Gopal is unable to get rank the second time also, he is so much disappointed, and finally it affects his health a lot, and within no time he passes away. Now Gopal returns to Varanasi from Kota. He is shattered, but soon he finds a new path. He is vexed with all the ideals and morals that his father has taught him. Of course, his father would have never approved of his new path, but he decides to set up a private engineering college on the disputed land. So actually, that land has been in a dispute for a long time. But this time, Gopal wants to deal the issue in a different way. So he takes the help of a local politician, local MLA, Shukla, who is a notorious criminal. And though he knows very well about Shukla's wrongdoings, in order to become successful and in order to become affluent, so he adopts all kinds of wrongdoing, bribery, blackmail, and thus Gopal enters into the dirty world of backdoor deals. With the support of corrupt politicians, he becomes successful. But of course, he loses a part of his soul. So, meanwhile, Raghav, who gets into IIT, shocks everyone by becoming a journalist instead of an engineer. He launches a small newspaper named Revolution 2020 to expose the very corruption that Gopal has now become a part of. Raghav publishes an article revealing illegal practices in Gopal's college, which causes a political backlash. As a result, his newspaper is shut down and he loses almost everything. So we can see how Gopal and Raghav are poles apart. They have come from different socio-economic backgrounds. And all the three, so Gopal, Raghav, and Aarti, they have three different backgrounds. They have different dreams. You see here, you can see the parents' wish, or how parents force their children against the wish of their children. Firstly, Gopal's father wants his son to become an engineer, but Gopal's intention is not like that. He wants to pursue some BSc because he knows his father is ailing. His father has sacrificed his life for his future, his son's future. So he wants to join a local college, taking a BSc course or something like that. But his father doesn't listen to his word. He insists Gopal to write IIT entrance at any cost. Gopal knows his limitations, his abilities, his caliber, his mettle. So he cannot focus on IIT, but his father forces him. If you see Raghav also, Raghav's father is also an engineer. He is an IIT product, but he fails to know his son's ideology. See, his son wants to become a journalist. He wants to fight against corruption. And if you take Aarti wants to become an air hostess. But her father also wants her to become an engineer. He forces her to write IIT entrance, much against her will. So in India, most of the parents have only two options: either engineering or medicine. So like this, so Chetan Bhagat takes the plot, so which is a burning issue in India. So he deals with two things: how parents force the children without knowing what they actually want to become. So they love the children very much, but they think that whatever the dreams they had in their childhood, Gopal's father wanted to become an engineer. So he wanted to realize his dream in his son. IIT entrance examination plays an important role in this novel. Just like many of Chetan Bhagat's novels, Chetan Bhagat deals with IIT in most of his novels. If you take the first novel, 5 Point Someone, so that is about what someone not to do at IIT. And if you take Two States, there also you see the protagonist is an IIT product. And the girl in room 105 is also. Um, and Revolution 2020. So does IIT examination and IIT campus life play an important role in Chetan Bhagat's novels and here in Revolution 2020 also? And Gopal's failure versus Raghav's success, we can see. Raghav is a brilliant, is very, without any particular focus, he gets a very good rank in IIT. But his intention is different. He wants to become a journalist. Okay, we have already discussed this. And let us look at how Gopal, who doesn't get the love of Aarti, he gets a chance. Now, his engineering college is very successful and he has become very rich. He uses Rag's distraction and emotional absence to get close to Aarti once again. Once again means he sees Gopal as her well-wisher, as her best friend. She doesn't have such romantic feeling towards Gopal. So he grabs this opportunity. He exploits the weakness of Raghav. Raghav, so it is the Raghav's flaw. Raghav is very much focused on his Revolution 2020, the newspaper, and he cannot spare time for Aarti. Now, Gopal is waiting for this opportunity. He comes closer to Aarti. Because Raghav cannot pay attention, he wants to give whatever Aarti is longing for. He showers her with love and attention. And soon Aarti begins to drift away from Raghav. Gopal believes he has finally won. But just when he plans to announce the relationship to Raghav, he wants to tease Raghav. He becomes jealous of Raghav. Actually, they were good friends, but due to these reasons, so Gopal has some kind of jealousy towards Raghav. He wants to announce his closeness and relationship with Aarti to Raghav so that he wants to see him disappointed. But something unexpected happens then. Gopal visits Raghav's office, which is now ruined. And there he happens to see the selfless work Raghav is doing for poor children. Actually, Gopal has seen the poverty and he must be having concern for poor children, poor students, but he never exhibits that. He never gives concession to any poor student. His fees are very high, so he's struck by guilt. In that moment, he realizes that the true meaning of greatness, not money, not success, but the courage to serve others with honesty. Then he decides something. So he decides to step away from Aarti's life. On his birthday, Aarti has decided to express his love towards Gopal. She has taken a decision. Okay, Raghav is not suitable for her, and Gopal seems somewhat better and more compatible. So she wants to surprise Gopal by proposing to him on his birthday. But to her great surprise, when she comes to his guest house, he arranges a scene to make her hate him. It looks somewhat cinematic. When she comes, she finds him with two prostitutes, and she is very much shocked. She walks away in disgust, believing Gopal is not worthy of her love. But the readers know that it is Gopal's sacrifice, and readers also realize that it is Gopal's true love. He helps Raghav get a good job and encourages him to spend quality time with Aarti. Eventually, Aarti and Raghav reconcile and get married. Gopal becomes a wealthy man, but he is left with a heart full of sorrow and longing. At the end of the novel, Gopal meets the other. Other means Chetan Bhagat. And Chetan Bhagat has this kind of writing about himself in some of the novels. In his second novel, uh, One Night at Call Center, also we see the other intervening in the story. And in Three Mistakes of Life also, when the protagonist commits a suicide, before attempting suicide, he sends an email to the other Chetan Bhagat. Similarly, in his fifth novel also, we see Chetan Bhagat a part of the novel. Gopal invites him for some celebration, some get together or annual day, or something like that. He meets the other, and before the other leaving, he asks a question that echoes in every reader's mind. Am I a good man? This question is from Gopal to Adar Chetan Bhagat. The answer perhaps lies in the choices he made, not for himself, but for those he loved. This is not just a story of love and heartbreak, it is bold commentary on the state of education in India. Chetan Bhagat exposes how coaching centers have become money making machines, how desperate middle class parents are willing to spend their life savings to get their children into IITs, and how education has turned into a lucrative business. The novel also shows how the youth of India, brilliant, passionate, and full of dreams, often find themselves between ambition, morality, and love. The love triangle in Revelation 2020 serves as a sugar coating to a bitter pill. While readers enjoy the emotional ups and downs between Gopal, Raghav, and Arti, they are also made to confront the harsh truths about our education system and the price one pays for success. In conclusion, Revelation 2020 is not just a novel, it is a mirror that reflects our society. It forces us to ask tough questions about what we value more, money or ideals, love or success, power or integrity. Okay? And now, the Revelation 2020 has a subtitle. You might have seen the cover page of the novel in the beginning. Yes. You see, Revelation 2020. Below that, you can find love, corruption, and ambition. So these are the three things that the subtitle carries. First of all, let us look at the love concept, love angle. One minute. Okay. Let us look at the triangle love in Revelation 2020. Now, I want to discuss the justification of title Revelation 2020 in subtitle Love, Corruption, and Ambition. Okay. What is a triangle love story? Innocent beginnings, a cake, and a connection. Here we can see Chetan Bhagat writing a novel in order to make it get adapted into a film. Probably when he wrote his first novel, 5 Point Someone, he wouldn't have thought of the novel becoming a movie. But when first 2 or 3 novels were adapted into movies, that was one of the criticisms against Chetan Bhagat. He writes from that perspective in order to make a cinematic adaptation. You can find in the beginning of the story, we see the childhood of Gopal, Raghav, and Arti. All the three study in the same school. The seeds of affection are sown in childhood when Gopal, unable to afford food, secretly takes the cake from Arti's lunchbox. Actually, all the children go for prayer, and Gopal insists Raghav to stay back. When there is no student in the class, Gopal steals a cake from Arti's lunchbox. When Arti comes to know the reason behind it, the reason is simple. Gopal's mother died when he was barely 4 years old, and there is no one to look after him except his father. Arti feels sympathy when she realizes Gopal has no mother. This moment marks the beginning of a soft, innocent bond between the two. And Arti becomes Gopal's emotional anchor. As childhood progresses, Gopal begins to rely emotionally on Arti. She treats him kindly and becomes one of his only sources of affection and understanding, especially after his mother's death. He begins to see her someone special, though he never explicitly says it. And During their school years, Gopal and Aarti grow closer, especially while they are in +2. They take regular evening walks along the Ganga Ghats. The story happens in Varanasi. Actually, through one of the conversation, we come to know that the story happens. The time period is 2004. Exchanging the Gopal and Aarti exchange stories, tease each other, and share laughter. For Gopal, these evening walks are sacred moments of connection and hope. And Gopal's silent love turns serious. As they grow older means when uh, they complete their +2 and they are about to write IIT entrance examination, Gopal expresses her feelings for Aarti. He starts dreaming of a future with her, though he still hesitates to confess openly. Aarti continues to see him as a childhood friend, unaware of the intensity of his emotions. Now we see the turning point. Gopal tries to confess. One evening, unable to hold back, Gopal expresses his desire for their friendship to turn into love. But Aarti gently refuses, saying she only sees him as a close friend. Though disappointed, Gopal continues to remain attached to her emotionally. He doesn't take any serious step. Uh, he just, understands. And when Gopal doesn't get IIT seat for the first time, when his father insists him to go to Kota, so there we see the physical distance between Gopal and Aarti. This physical distance creates emotional distance. He continues to message Aarti and stay in touch. They have some online chat, but a sense of loneliness creeps in. He misses her terribly. Then Raghav steps in. We have already discussed. First time, Gopal doesn't get a good rank. He goes to Quota for long-term coaching. And Raghav joins BHU. He gets a very good rank in IIT entrance examination. He joins engineering at BHU. And he requests his friend not to reveal the secret behind joining uh, at BHU to anyone, even his parents also. He tells everyone that he joins BHU just because he wants to do the branch that he wants to join, computer science. And he even requests Gopal to convey the same thing to everyone. Okay, now Gopal is doing his engineering at BHU. He has come closer to Aarti. Aarti starts admiring Raghav because Raghav is a brilliant boy uh, and he has got intelligence and she is fascinated by his ideals also. Now gradually they start liking each other. A new relationship begins to blossom. Gopal notices the change in Aarti's tone and frequency of reprise. She is in touch with Gopal. She makes online chat, but Gopal can identify that she is in relationship with Raghav. She becomes closer to Raghav. Gopal is shattered. He feels betrayed, but he's helpless. This emotional blow affects his concentration, leading to his second failure in the engineering entrance examination. Actually, that was the time when Gopal gets confidence. Yes, this time he is going to crack the entrance examination at any cost and is going to get a very good rank. At that time, when he comes to know that Arti is becoming closer to Raghav, he is very much disappointed, and that has affected his rank. Okay, after his father's death, Gopal returns to Varanasi, watches Arti and Raghav from a distance. Though he is determined to move on, his feelings for Arti resurface when he interacts with her again while working on his college project. This is the time when uh, Gopal wants to exploit both Raghav's and Arti's weaknesses. Raghav becomes engrossed in journalism and his mission to change the world. He has little time for romance. Arti, craving attention and affection, feels neglected. Gopal sees this as an opportunity to come closer. Gopal begins to uh, pamper Arti. He wants to know her likes, dislikes, and that is what a girl wants. A man who remembers her likes and dislikes, and he always tries to comfort her, and he always takes her out, what Raghav never does. She slowly understands the difference between Gopal and Raghav. She finds in Gopal what Raghav is failing to offer: emotional presence. Slowly, she starts enjoying Gopal's company more than Raghav's. Arti, actually, she hasn't been separated from Raghav, but she begins to develop feelings for Gopal. She's strong and she understands the difference between Gopal and Raghav. The meetings between Arti and Gopal become more frequent and intense. In a moment of vulnerability and passion, Arti and Gopal share physical intimacy. This act seals Gopal's hope that she now belongs to him. Gopal thinks, yes, when they share the physical intimacy, this is the time uh, uh, to separate Arti from Raghav. Even then, Arti remains conflicted and does not tell Raghav. When Gopal sees Raghav's selfless work for the poor and realizes how noble he is, guilt overtakes him. He decides to step aside, convinced that Arti deserves a better man than him. On his birthday, as we discussed already, he pretends to be a womanizer to make Arti hate him. Arti is devastated and leaves him. Later, Gopal helps Raghav and encourages him to reconcile with Arti. Eventually, they get married, and Gopal becomes rich but emotionally hollow. So, this is the love triangle among Arti, Gopal, and Raghav. And the second part of subtitle is corruption. Corruption plays a very important role in the novel. Gopal is the protagonist, of course, beyond any doubt, but he chooses corruption over ethics. In this way, we can see Gopal as the anti-hero. Driven by poverty, rejection, and ambition, he resorts to unethical methods. He becomes a symbol of systematic corruption and personal downfall. And we can see the corruption of all types: political, financial, educational, and even moral. Let us look at the political and financial corruption. He starts bribing officials for land clearance, and he gets closer to MLA Shukla. He knows he is a corrupt politician, but he partners with him. And he uses black money to build Ganga Tech. Ganga Tech is the name of the institution. He pays bribes to UGC and AICT inspectors when they come for inspection. And we can see the corruption of all kinds. Gopal, even in the admission process also, admission is often granted not on academic merit, but on the basis of capitation fees from students willing to pay high sums. And he faked labs and infrastructure for inspections, evaded taxes and laundered frauds. Okay, merit is ignored, and hired underqualified faculty for cheap labor. There are certain rules and regulations for recruiting staff with certain qualifications like CSI or NET or UGC NET or PhD, something like that. But he ignores all these things, and he recruits the people who do not have all these qualifications. And he starts misleading parents with fake promises like 100% placements, world-class facilities to lure students and their parents. In fact, his institution doesn't have all these qualities. He uses glossy brochures, and he exploits middle-class parents by charging heavy fees for substandard food, housing, and services. So he resorts to all kinds of unethical practices. And whenever the students make any complaints or comes reports in the grievance cell, he simply ignored all of them. And he created a protection racket with bureaucrats. And ultimately, the corruption, this is the ultimate corruption. This is personal betrayal and emotional corruption. Gopal cheats his best friend Raghav. So, firstly, he gets him fired by sending a fake video. And he destroys his independent newspaper named Dainik. And we have seen how he has manipulated Aarti emotionally. And he has exploited both of his friends, Raghav and Aarti's weaknesses. And the ultimate thing is, when Raghav is unable to pay attention to Aarti, he grabs that opportunity and he goes to such an extent that he seduces Aarti while she was with Raghav. And he justifies all actions as necessary. He has sacrificed relationships for power and wealth. And what would he say finally? Everyone else is doing it. That is Gopal's reaction. Gopal's actions portray how a young man with dreams of escaping poverty can be lured into systematic corruption. His justification lies in the belief that everyone else is doing it. So why not me? That is okay. Then the third part is ambition. Ambition we can see from three important characters' point of view: Gopal, Raghav, and Aarti, and even Gopal's father, a minor character. And Gopal, what is Gopal's ambition? Gopal's ambition is very simple. He wants to pursue his BSc. Here, it is not what do you call it? It's not selfishness. In fact, he wants to look after his father, but his father doesn't listen to him, and his ambition is to become rich and affluent. So he resorts to all corrupt practices. And Gopal's another ambition is to win Aarti. And Aarti's ambition is to become either an air hostess or settle in hotel management. Here she has a love versus ambition conflict, choosing comfort over conviction, and she is finally confused with validation. And we can see Raghav's ambition to become a journalist. In spite of clearing IIT with a very good rank, he wants to become a journalist. He rejects all traditional paths. He has an obsession for changing the world, or especially his country, India. He falls into the trap of becoming an idealist. We can see a moral contrast to Gopal. And Gopal's father is simple, humble, down to earth, and is very honest. He doesn't desire for fame or money or luxury. His only ambition is to see his son as an engineer. Thus, this is the third part. Love, we have seen love, corruption, and ambition. And let us look at the characterization of Gopal Mishra as a tragic hero. Of course, we have seen Gopal Mishra as an anti-hero, and finally becoming a tragic hero at the end. See, he realizes his follies, he knows his mistakes, and there is redemption. And finally, he sacrifices his love for the sake of his both friends. And Raghav Kashyap is brilliant and bold, passionate and principled, courageous and detached, and he is symbolic and revolutionary. And Aarti Pratap Pradhan has full name. She is charming and confident, modern and expressive, loyal yet conflicted. She is loyal to Raghav in the beginning, but finally she is unable to take a decision and torn between Gopal's love and Raghav's ideals. She likes both of them. And Gopal's father is the moral anchor. He is selfless, sacrificing. But we can see a common father, Indian father. Okay, let us look at Chetan Bhagat's unique writing style. Firstly, he takes all contemporary social issues like IIT entrance examinations, the parents' craze for cracking their children, cracking them, corruption in education, all. So, contemporary issues. If you take one Indian girl, you can see the feministic ideas of the young girl and youth-centric narratives, simple and conversational. This is the hallmark of Chetan Bhagat's writing style. His conversational English, and he is known for his one-liners, witty one-liners. He's known for his humor and satire, and all his novels are narrated in the first person. All his novels, and most of his novels have autobiographical touch. We can call them semi-autobiographical. You take first novel, 5 Point Someone, Two States, even we can find Three Mistakes of Life. Most of his novels are semi-autobiographical. There are references to his own life, and in most of the novels we find the author meeting the characters. It is very interesting, and all his novels have at least a numeral in the title. If you take 5 Point Someone, 5, Three Mistakes of Life, 3, One Night at Call Center, 1, Two States, 2, Revelation 2020, there is a number 2020, One Indian Girl, again 1, and the girl in room 105. 105 is a number. And all his protagonist names are Krishna inspired names: Gopal, Madhu, Raghav, like that. And one important thing is He deals with social issues, but he doesn't miss entertainment. Sugar-coated entertainment is there. And there are 4 reasons for Bhagat's success. Simple, accessible English. The second thing is he takes common people's problems, and because he takes first-person narrative, that makes readers feel understood. And as I have already discussed, entertainment is never missing in his novels. And limitations. The one common criticism is people call his novels as popcorn literature. Most of his novels, the later novels, are predictable, cinematic, over cinematic narratives, and there is limited rereadability. We cannot read again and again his novels just for one-time reading. And there is limited global relevance and stereotypical characters. You can find, okay, one or two novels, we find it interesting, entertaining, but the same kind of humor, the same kind of characterization. So that is one of the flaws in Chetan Bhagat's narrative style. And that is, and then let us look at the conclusion of Revelation 2020. It is a powerful blend of love, ambition, corruption. And most of the characters, so when the reader, a common man, reads his novels, the characters are relatable. Okay, Gopal, we can find Gopal-like persons everywhere. So if you go anywhere, so quota, how parents force their children to get ranks, they don't know the caliber or the limitations of the children. And here again, Gopal is the protagonist, but is an established an anti-hero. So the fight between good versus bad. Good is represented by Raghav, and bad, of course, not completely bad, but most of the action in the novel, he resorts to unethical practices. And a story set in the heart of India, Varanasi. And everybody identifies oneself with the setting. And as we have already discussed, language that connects with the masses. So, of course, that is one of the criticisms against Chetan Bhagat's narrative style. Sometimes his language seems very colloquial, not of that literary standard. And as we have already discussed, each of his novels deals with some burning issues. So here we have seen corruption in education system, 2 burning issues here. How there is corruption in education system. Second thing is how parents have irrational craze for their children cracking IIT. So these are the 2 social issues that have been dealt in this novel. So that's it. If you have any questions, sir, shall we conclude?
Yes, sir. So thank you, Dr. C.V.S. Ravindranath garu. In his review on Revolution 2020 by Chetan Bhagat is a novel that explores the themes of love, ambition, and corruption through the interfering lives of 3 childhood friends, Gopal, Raghav, and Aarti, in the city of Varanasi. Chetan Bhagat presents a story set against the backdrop of India's deeply flawed education system and the socio-political environment that influences young people futures. The novel critiques the corrupt educational and political systems in India. The conflict between achieving success and staying morally upright is central. The emotional core of the story lies in the complex love triangle. The novel tries to represent the struggles of young Indians trying to make a mark in a flawed system. Bhagat's trademark conversational style makes the book accessible to a wide range of readers. The plot highlights real concerns about the Indian education system and politics. It's a quick read with enough twist to maintain interest. Revolution 2020 is a compelling yet flawed exploration of modern India's youth and their struggles. While not literary in depth or complexity, it succeeds in engaging readers with a mix of drama, romance, and socio-political commentary. It's a good pick for casual readers or fans of Chetan Bhagat's accessible contemporary style. Thank you very much, Dr. C.V.S. Ravindranath Garu, for your insightful and engaging review on Revolution 2020 by Chetan Bhagat. Your perspectives and observations have certainly added great value to today's session. We look forward to meeting you all again next Friday for the next edition of the Andhra Pradesh State Council of Higher Education's Talk the Book program, where we will feature a Telugu book review. Thank you, one and all, for your presence and participation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.